Yo, dog. So Oblivion Remastered launched on April 22nd, 2025. So it's been out a little over 2 months. And how is the performance? So for those of you that are not familiar with this overlay, this is the current frame rate, this is frame time, this is the average frame rate, and this is the 1% lows. So let's go ahead and go over what the settings I'm running the game are. It's full screen, 1440p, frame rate limit is 60, VSync is off, field of view for first and third person is 75. We're going to have everything set to medium, DLSS performance, and NVIDIA Reflex enabled. There is stuff you can do to tinker around with FSR and setting FSR with FrameGen, but anything you do with FrameGen, you're going to need to set Reflex to enabled plus boost. At least I did when I was messing around with that, but I'm trying to make this as simple as possible and just show what settings you're going to have without having to do immense, like, Googling around to find out about messing with the engine file or anything like that. So let's go ahead and delete that save. And let's go ahead and load right into Leyawiin inside the city. And this city was not the most intensive city in the game, but this is somewhere that I was having a lot of frame just drops and stutters all over the place, especially the other day.
Have pity on an old war veteran.
No. So, alright, restart the benchmark. So we're sitting at relatively stable 60. I mean, we're seeing 1% lows that are less than ideal. I really feel like I should, especially at medium, I kind of think I would be able to run this game at a stable 60. And I guess that's, maybe too much to ask for. And I really would like to show what this game runs like on different upscaling, but every time I do that, it crashes. I've only done it twice, but it crashed both times, and I have to completely restart the game, and I just, that's where that autosave came from. So let's knock this up to balanced. Oh, that's a pretty hefty drop. See, if it's the lows are around, I don't know, like 35 or so, it's not as noticeable. Really, you want them to, I'd prefer them to not be below 40. But when they plummet all the way down to like 20, it's just, it's really not a remotely ideal experience. Now, I have a 3070, which is an 8GB card. And I have a 12600K, 32 gigs of DDR4, 3200 megatransfers RAM. It's CL16. So I feel like it's a relatively capable PC for most games that are out. I don't really seem to have problems running most games relatively well. And this game is an exception, which when I heard this game was getting remastered, and I was stoked, and then I saw that it was like the rumors, and then I saw that it was going to be Unreal Engine, and I was like, oof, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work out. So changing the settings to high, as you can see, didn't really seem to do much, huh? Ain't that something? So let's go ahead and drop. I'm not even going to show you what they're like on Ultra. Take my word for it, it's not playable on Ultra. You will see as we get outside, and it's slightly worse than it was inside the city, that it's really not an ideal experience to play the game. So it's going to be real stuttery all over the place anytime you enter or leave an area. Yeah. So as you can see, not exactly ideal. And we're on medium, alright? And that's high. Granted, it is raining. There is quite a bit going on. But just, you know, just for the heck of it, let's show... I'm not going to show 1080p. I'm on a 1440p monitor. If I have to play 1080p, that's, you know, that's unlucky. So, we tried balanced out. I'm going to recommend performance. Now, I don't have any overclocking done on the CPU or GPU. I haven't messed around with any of that to try and see if it does anything. But as you can see, just changing that seemed to help quite a bit. And I think that this level of performance, at least for me, is good enough. And it is better than it was, because when the game first launched, it was fine. I didn't notice any problems, and then I just noticed it was, like, terrible. And that was because they dropped a patch that basically completely grayed out the options for any sort of upscaling. And let's go ahead and show where we're sitting at. So, removing the frame rate cap of 60, we get very, very little over 60, just in case you're curious on why it was capped at 60. So, you might as well just cap it at 60. And we're set to everything high, and I did see somewhere that someone said that everything can be high except shadows. You know, you want to drop shadows down. And I don't know if that's going to make a difference where we're at, because, you know, not exactly shadows here. Yeah, so the best thing you can really do is, there's a way to, you'd have to look it up, but you can use FrameGen with DLSS, because FSR is just not great. Like, the game's not exactly fantastic. I mean, it looks good, but it's not like fantastic looking with DLSS, and I'm not going to show you what it looks like with FSR. I'm going to try to turn this off, and if it crashes the game, then oh well. Okay. It's a miracle. So, now we're not even hitting 60. And we've got an angry crab on us. So, let's just set that all the way up. And we're going to go native resolution, no upscaling, with medium settings. So it's rendering natively at 1440p. Full crab fight mode. And that's just, you know, if I find anything out to help, I'll put it in the comments. But as you can see, the game's not exactly great running. I mean, this isn't bad. Like, this is honestly, like, the reason I wanted to do this video is because of how the game was running the past few days, and now it's doing, like, the drops. I was seeing consistent 20 FPS drops inside of Leyawiin. And I don't know, I mean, I had that happen earlier doing one of these tests before it crashed when I tried to turn on FSR. And I had one tab of Chrome opened, and the frame times were like tripled, or I think they were sitting at, yeah, they were close to 45, 50, a little under 60-ish, so at least tripled. And it was one tab of Chrome where I searched Oblivion Remastered release date, and apparently that one tab was too much to handle. Unlucky. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to kill this crab. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's actually I'm you know, this does. Let's turn back on DLSS just to see. I just don't understand how the performance is practically the same. Okay, I take that back. The performance is not the same. What the hell happened? Okay. I don't know. Maybe when I turn this... Maybe when I turn that off previously, it automatically changes resolution scale. It doesn't look like it. Let's set it to 80. Yeah, I don't really know what's going on with this game. I guess just leave DLSS onto performance. I didn't notice much of a difference with the quality of the game anyways. The one thing I cannot stand here, though, that really irritates me is view distance quality. I really would like to set that to ultra, but I'm going to at least set it to high. So, yeah. There's obvious boundaries for this game, like, depending on your PC. For my PC specifically, pretty much high settings is going to be playable for the most part that I've seen, especially with some kind of upscaling. Previous testing, even Ultra is not accessible in any way, I don't think, even if you're going to use FrameGen. Like if you wanted to use DLSS with FrameGen and you wanted to run the game on Ultra, it still wouldn't be playable. There's going to be noticeable latency with FrameGen as well, no matter how you go about it. It's almost unnoticeable if you set reflex latency to NVIDIA Reflex to enabled plus boost. Then the latency is just really not noticeable anymore. But that's your only real choice there. So ultimately, not really sure what's up with this game. As you can see, the GPU is sitting at, well, it went from 63 to 83% usage. CPU is awful low, and maybe it's a VRAM thing, but from what I've seen, this game doesn't exactly run great on any PC. So, if you have any suggestions, I'd be happy to hear them. And if you've tested or found anything yourself that has helped, and you have a similar, PC, similar graphics card, whatever, I would, feel free to let me know. I would appreciate it, because there's some days where this game runs fine and I don't notice it, and then maybe it's area based. I really don't know, but there's some days when it just runs so bad I just close the game out and go find something else to play or something else to do. So yep, that's it for me. Peace. You can set it to FSR. Is it really going to crash again? As I have a 3070, I can only use the AMD FrameGen, and without editing the engine file or without typing into console commands or whatever, the only way to do that is to use FSR. Don't know if the game just or what. But as you can see, I think this is a pretty good example of where the game's at right now. So I'm going to have to, stop this and relaunch the game, so that's huge. So let's go ahead and go outside and kind of see what performance we're getting. And this is an area of the game that I haven't been to before. I don't know how much that matters, so once again, restart this benchmark. pretty much every time you load into an area, it's going to stutter like absolute shit, like crazy. You know what? This is kind of interesting because let's try this. Okay, so I really don't know what's happening right now. It has not. This is new. I really don't know what's happening or why it's doing this. This is really bad. Okay.